Hi, Daybakers. So it's been like a hot minute since I last streamed, it feels like. And as you probably noticed, there is no start stream screen today because I am already running late and I feel like we should just get into it. Alright, so we are continuing Rumpel's route today. Great. I think we're nearing the end. It should be chapter 9, right? I think. I don't know why I'm asking. I can just load the file. But yeah, we are going to continue Rumpel's route today. Why did I forget that? Okay. Oh great, that's so ironic. I forgot something about the character who has forgotten everything, but that's fine. We are slowly gathering his memories. No, wait, he's already broken his curse. Oh great, I'm so behind. Well, it has been a week. Well, either way, let's get into it. Alright, his real name is Chevalier. Another long night. The two of us are on our way back to the Martian after visiting a clinic in town. You were there for hours, and it's a relief to be out in the open now, where I can feel the wind on my skin. Are you okay, Princess? I know that what you saw must have been difficult. I'm sorry I couldn't shield you from the majority of it. I volunteered to help Chevalier at the clinic part-time, but it is worse than I had expected. Many of the soldiers have severe wounds. I had thought that most of the injuries sustained by the knights during the upheaval were only minor. But I was wrong. Her injuries are much worse. Princess? He reaches out and laces his fingers through mine, then gives me a soft smile as he squeezes my hand. Are you okay? I am fine. It has only been 1 day since the uprising at the palace. I had thought that there would be less blood. I was wrong. Is this what things were like after the Great War? I wasn't a fully certified doctor at the Great War, but I was an assistant. It was far worse than this, Princess. We cannot have a repeat of the Great War. I do not know why Mifrose would kill Sir Alancaster and take the throne without claiming the crown, but the witches already have a bad name, and he is making it worse. I cannot help but remember the wide smiles Mifrose gave me when I was still living in the palace. Every time I felt his eyes on me, I felt like there was something strange about him. There was always a cloudiness to his eyes, something unreadable. He was excellent at his job, but always an enigma outside of it. A sudden breeze chills my skin. Let's go back before you freeze out here. The two of us begin our walk back to the Martian. Thoughts of the palace, the king, and my step-family cloud my mind. Since I have been staying at the Martian, I have not seen Rod once. I was never sure if it was because he was ignoring me or if it was because he only wanted to speak to Parfait. Regardless, I hope Rod and his family are okay. I would never wish this treatment upon anyone, not even to ones I hated. As we walk, I glance up at Chevalier, whose head is tilted skyward. I catch the glimmer of lights in his eyes and smile. Even for just a moment, I can forget about everything when I am beside him. He has a way of taking the weight off my shoulders. But as the crown princess, I cannot let others carry my burden for me. I must find ways to protect the others. Even if it means putting myself in danger or harming someone in order to protect someone else. What do you think is the easiest and fastest way to kill someone? Well, what a thing to say! Chevalier's body goes rigid beside me. He stops to stare at me, wide-eyed. I am asking just in case I am ever in danger. I have never fought anyone before. I can retaliate, but I do not know how to actually harm anyone. Asking the doctor that, To kill someone is to end a life, is stealing away a life that others might love. You bear the burden of that death for the rest of your life. I pull myself away from him. But Mefrose is not an innocent man. Would you rather he kill the royal family instead? No, it's not that, Princess. I know he must be stopped at any cost. It's just, I would never want you to have to kill someone. How would you know what it was like to kill someone? You have only ever helped people, not hurt them. You saw soldiers in the clinic today. You saw how close some of them were to death. Did you see the hollow look in their eyes? I have seen that look many times. It is the look of a man who clings desperately to life. Every life is precious. And a life is still a life, whether it's vile or not. It's still a responsibility you have to bear. I know how valuable and fragile lives are because I have helped so many people. We stand quiet for a few moments, facing each other. I know I am at an odds with Chevalier. He speaks the truth, but I also know that I speak my own version of the truth too. The world is a place where only the strong survive. People are kind, but they will take advantage of those who are too caring. Ria told me that Chevalier was so selfless he became selfish. She told me that he never had anything because he gave everything to others. His kindness has hurt others, and I fear that it has a likely chance to hurt him as well. What if his reluctance to hurt anyone causes him to be the one that is injured? Chevalier suddenly breaks the silence. Most people think that the easiest way to kill a person is to stab them through the heart. Those people would be wrong. He puts his hand over his heart and stares dismally down at the ground. He removes his hand briefly, but only to reach for mine. Hi, Regina! Glad you could make it. We're almost done with Chevalier's route, I think. He takes my hand and settles it on his chest, slightly to the left. You're having some heavy talk about about killing someone right now. He's trying to talk Lucette out of it anyway. I can hear the beating of his heart beneath my palm. It is soft and gentle. What can you feel besides the beating of my heart? The ribs? Yes, in order to stab the heart, you'd have to get through the ribs. That's why most of the soldiers in there who got stabbed in the chest are still alive. If you want to quickly kill someone, you had to stab somewhere where it would be difficult to stem the blood from a wound. Thank you. Do I have any idea where that might be? I wasn't paying attention, shoot! Wait. Wait, where are we right now? Oh, right, okay. Alright, the neck. The skin on the neck is thinner, and you have lots of blood flow underneath the skin, going right to your head. It would most likely be easier to slice or pierce something more vulnerable in the neck without running into as much resistance. Chevalier raises an eyebrow. Did you happen to pick that up around the clinic? No, I simply guessed. Then you have a bright mind, princess. Chevalier moves my hand to the side of his neck. My fingers curl slightly when I feel his heartbeat reverberate beneath my fingers. This part is where you can find the jugular vein and the carotid artery, or however that's pronounced. He runs my fingers down the length of it, and I shudder. A mischievous smile brightens his face. Not only does cutting at the neck stop blood from going to the head, but also makes it spurt. If both the vein and the artery are cut, it only takes a minute to bleed to death. Thus, one of the best ways to kill a person would be through the neck. You know, I'm just imagining the writer having to research this before doing this part. Why are you telling me all this now? I was just enlightening a new pupil of an anatomy lesson. You asked me a question, I responded as a teacher. Chevalier's fingers loosen on my hand, and I grasp his hand tighter in response. Yay! Princess, I don't want to have to bear the burden of a murder. Yay, as in yay, that was correct. I promise I'll protect you, so you don't have to defend yourself with violence. I can't use a sword or magic, and I don't know how to fight, but I will always be there to protect you. How? I may not have an abundance of muscles beneath these sleeves, but I am a doctor. I know one knows the body better than I. Fair enough. So though it may not be heroic, I know how to hurt a person. That sounded weirdly dark. His sincere expression, though pain, tells me that he is telling the truth. I do not want Chevalier to hurt a person either. It would destroy everything that he has worked toward as a doctor. Oh, really? So it's accurate? He has seen so much suffering, and yet always seems untouched by it. I would do anything I can to protect his positivity. Oops. The Martian was quiet when we returned. Everyone had already disappeared into their rooms, and so I went straight to mine. I also forced Chevalier to go back to his. He has been on his feet all day, and he needs a rest. Wow, that's impressive, yeah. So the writer actually did a lot of research for that, I imagine. I mean, it's already challenging to choose, like, having a character be a doctor, because you really need to get those facts right. I plopped down to my bed as soon as we returned home. I glanced briefly to the side, where Chevalier's bouquet is in the vase Parfait had given to me. Who is it? Parfait. You know, every time I see her enter this room on this route, I just wonder if she's eaten the friggin' chocolate yet. Come in. You returned. Parfait looks paler than normal. Oh no! I realized with a start that Chevalier did not tend to her at all today. Don't look at me like that. I'm fine. How are the soldiers at the clinic? Not good. Many of them have been gravely wounded. Some said they remembered magic. Others say they did not remember anything at all. A shadow falls over Parfait's expression as she sighs. So the circumstances are dire than we thought. It's a good thing Chevalier is there to lend a helping hand. Did you all manage to come up with a plan? Without me? It's proving more difficult than we anticipated. Delora and I are willing to put ourselves in danger. Waltz is too, because he can use magic to a certain extent. The Knights and Karma have their blades. But Chevalier... I don't want to involve him in this. Because you're worried about him. I mean, no shit. Of course I am. You've grown, princess. You remind me of a younger Heldir. Oh, don't say that! Back then, Heldir was both calm and resilient. One moment she could be smiling ear to ear, the next she could be strict and immovable as the cold as ice. The two of us were like sisters. We did so much together. We learned together, explored the kingdom together. I can say with all certainty that we were the best of friends. Right. Friends. And then the fairy tales happened. When Heldir killed the first human, she was corrupted. Her darkness swallowed her whole. I do not remember a time before Mother was corrupted, and so I cannot imagine imagine the woman Parfait describes. I know the old Heldir would have wanted to show you the beauty in things, princess. She would not want you to suffer. I'm sorry you became so embroiled in things. It was inevitable. If Delora hadn't cursed me, that I would still be in the palace, and I would be just as helpless as everyone else. So while I am out here, I have the responsibility to help everyone. I touched the incomplete glass slipper at my neck. I still haven't even done 3 good deeds. I completely forgot about that. Don't look so sad. You'll complete your 3 good deeds and things will go back to normal. And of course, you'll still have friends here when you return. And come your 18th birthday, Delora and I will teach you about magic. Waltz is eager to help too. But for now, our top priority is a plan. Rest easy, princess. Things will work out. It is hard to believe that this problem could be so easily solved, but I will try to believe. When Parfait leaves, I am left to my own thoughts. I hope everyone at the palace is okay and that they can hold on until we come up with our plan, but I feel like we're already running out of time. We're running out of time. Days go by and I find myself assisting Chevalier at times. Other times I remain at the Martian to help conceptualize the plan. None of our plans have actually shown any promise yet, but with all of our minds put together, we should be able to come up with something. A week later, I find myself standing outside the clinic door, waiting for Chevalier. I'm sorry to have kept you waiting, princess. You can drop the title, you know. Lucette, but you are a princess in my... You are a princess in my eye. Yes, but you do not need to address me by title. Just my name is fine. Chevalier reaches out to take my hand, and immediately pulls his hand back, eyes wide. Ah, I forgot it. Forgot what? The medicine that I needed for parfait. Give me a moment, Lisette. Chevalier plants a quick kiss on my forehead before running inside. I stare at the stars as I wait. I turn but see no one walking around the plaza. Inch closer toward the door of the clinic as I take another look around. Boo. Why would you do that? No, not you. I suddenly see a silhouette of a man. He takes a few more steps toward me and then stops in front of me. Up! I recognize him immediately. His appearance left quite an impression on me last time, I bet. Out at night by yourself? Certainly you know that wolves prowl these streets at night. What do you want? I take a step back and press myself to the door. I reach for the door handle, but the man reaches out a hand to grab my wrist, holding it to the door. Oh, this is a very unwelcomed cabedon. I'd say my answer to that question is complicated, princess. By the expression on her face, I must have hit the nail right on the head, huh? You are the princess. How do you know who I am? That's part of the mystery, isn't it? I attempt to wrestle my wrist out of his fingers. Come with me quietly and you won't get hurt. Scream for help! Like any normal person should do. I refuse to go anywhere with him. I open my mouth to scream, but before I can even breathe, the man's hand flies to my mouth. You're a disobedient one, aren't you? Oh my god! I struggle against his grasp. It does not take long for the grin to fall from his face. It is replaced with a look that lacks any amusement. No, please, no, that's so scary. I enjoy seeing you struggle, but I'm afraid we've been out here for too long. What a thing to say! Gross! I bang my shoulder against the door, and a resounding creak follows my attempt. No more Mr. That was your nice guy? The man opens a small veal right in front of my face. Something sweet wafts in the air, and I suddenly feel myself falling to darkness as I collapse. Why do I not remember this at all? I mean, to be fair, I don't remember most of what happens in Rumpel's round, but... Where am I? Again, I like how there's just like, the original Cinderella is really just there. I glance around me. My room. I look around cautiously, checking to see if anything in my room is different. The last time I was here was before I was cursed. How is it that this room is the same? Sleeping Beauty has awoken. I move to stand up before realizing that my legs are numb. Shame to see you so easily tamed, princess. And here I thought he would be fun. He's really creepy, like jeez. I glanced up to look at the man who is now standing right at my bedside. Oh my god. How do you know who I am? Are you a witch? A witch? Me? Ha! He burst into laughter. I don't think it was that funny. I'd rip the witches to shreds if I could. Okay, then. If you could? Then... you are cursed? The man simply smirks at me, but says nothing in response. He brushes the words aside with a gesture of his hand. Are you working for Meprose? Probably. I glare at his vague answer. My name is Varg. Didn't ask for it! And I have been assigned to you by your personal knight. I already have a personal knight. Oh, oh, you mean Fretz? I got rid of him. Fretz! You... No play with the queen's daughter, Varg. Oh, great. Mephros enters the room. Now he stands in the doorway, eyeing the both of us with a smile that's so oddly reminiscent of his usual one that it makes me sick. Mephros. Princess, you look more and more like your mother every day. Why, the scowl on her face is almost a perfect reflection. He moves to stand in front of me. At the same time, Varg begins to take slow and careful footsteps to the edge of my room. What have you done with everyone? Inconsequential or consequential? What? Mephros clicks his tongue impatiently. Inconsequential or consequential people? I narrow my eyes at him. I have no idea who he defines as inconsequential or consequential. Where are the king and the rest of the family? Where is Fritz? Were you the one who killed Sir Elcaster? Ah, inconsequential and consequential then. To start, your knight is gone, princess. I replaced him with Varg here. And Elcaster, well, we had a common cause at first. We both won the crown. Sir Elcaster was also betraying the king? But Elcaster was a brute. He wanted to needlessly kill the royal family and steal the crown for himself. At first I thought he was calm and calculating. But it turns out that he was just a power-hungry fool. Though I did want to take the crown, I wanted to avoid the bloodshed of certain important people. Mifro smiles at me. It's a look that makes my blood run cold. So I disposed of him and the rest of his knights. Oh, but don't worry, princess. I assure you that your family is resting in their rooms, just like you are resting in yours. What? Do not worry, you will see them shortly for dinner. I have my doubts about Mifro's story, but if what he said was true, then Sir Elcaster wanted to kill the royal family, and Mifro saved them, in a way. But then he decimated the knights and took the royal family hostage. Why would he do such a thing? They're prisoners, Len. Prisoners in their own home? Nonsense, we're all just awaiting the queen's return together. The queen? Slowly, I feel pieces beginning to fit together. A queen? He cannot be talking about Ophelia. Delora, do you think witches are capable of bringing back the dead? Muller is dead. Is she really? You can bring Muller back from the dead? We can, princess. We? The queen has been resting for a long time, waiting for you to gain your power so I can help her escape her prison. You are not making any sense. I struggle to keep my words from faltering. How is Mother alive, and what does he mean by a prison? The Tenenberry was the queen's prison. It is linked to the queen's power. Though others presume she was dead, the queen sealed the last of her powers inside the crystal. All she requires is your power, princess. My power? When you become a next bearer, you will have the ability to release the queen from her prison. My birthday is in a week. That is when I am meant to take on responsibilities of becoming the bearer, though Parfait and Delora never went into more detail beyond that. You'll finally get to see your mother again, princess. I still cannot quite take in everything he has just said. However, if Mefros had approached me before the curse, I would have helped Mother in a heartbeat. But it was Mother who was the last Nibiran bearer, and the one who brought darkness to Angiel. I once believed that Mother was the only person to ever love me. Now I know that I was wrong, that she shut me in from the world that I should have known. Oh yeah, he's definitely sadistic. But still, even now I wish she was here. I take a deep breath. But I cannot afford to be selfish. I cannot put anyone else in danger. I will not help you. You don't have a choice, princess. I have set the stage for my queen's return. All that's left is to free her from her cage. We will speak more of this at the dining table. Mifros leaves the room, leaving me briefly with Varg. Alright, he's still there. Varg smiles at me beneath his mask, then brings his index finger to the temple of his head and loops it. He mouths the word crazy. You said you would tear witches apart, so why do you serve Mifros? A good question. You are not going to answer me. How perceptive of you, princess. He smirks at me before following Mifros out the door. I am once again left by myself in the room. Everything Mifros just told me swirls through my mind. My mother. Alive. And he killed everyone only to take the crown and keep it for her. A shudder runs through my body. She cannot return. I spend the next hour looking around my room for things that might aid my escape. I know where everyone else's rooms are too, but I have no idea how heavily guarded they are. I doubt I could help them. I must return to the Martian. I test the window, but it is locked, probably with magic. I search my shelves. The dolls that used to comfort me can do nothing for me now. Last, I check my drawers. But though there are many things in them, there is nothing that looks like it could help me escape. As I'm searching, I come across a box and pause to pick it up. Ding ding! I remember this. It was given to me by mother with strict instructions not to open it, always keep the key hidden. I searched the drawer again for the key. Oh sure, keep it in the same place you keep the box! The moment I begin to set the box down, I see a small golden key at the bottom of the drawer. I pick it up and am about to open the box when I stop. This is hardly a priority right now. I set the key down next to the box. I should be searching for a way to escape. I turn to see Varg's smiling face at the door. You look like a criminal who's just been caught doing something naughty. Says the criminal himself. Ooh, good. Maybe we're meant for each other. Oh my god. I narrow my eyes as he approaches. Behind his back, I can make out the open door. Don't even think about it. You don't want me to pounce you in the hallways, do you? What does that even mean? That would be unpleasant. No kidding. Varg grasps my wrist. Why? I didn't do anything! I attempt to struggle free, but he holds tight to me. I will be your escort to dinner tonight. I keep my head held high as Varg escorts me from the room. Escorts. On the way to the dining hall, I glimpse the rest of the palace. It is mostly empty, save for a few soldiers. The soldiers that do stand there have a glazed look in their eyes, and look right through me. Puppets. A spell cast by Mithros? Varg does not answer me as he pulls me through the hallway. Soon I find myself in the dining hall. The guards usually standing by the walls are gone. Now there is only the royal family, and they seem to be unharmed. For now. You? Gasp. I can see recognition in the king's eyes. My heart flutters as he stands or tries to. He manages to rise, but only just barely. I notice that his feet stay firmly planted where they are. Everyone's bodies look exceptionally stiff. Is this some kind of spell? You are the girl that was outside my palace months ago. Mithros, what is the meaning of this? I notice that the king is not at the head of the table as usual. Everyone sits on the table sides, except for Mithros, who is at the far end. The king's seat, however, is clear. I simply brought back the crown princess. You should be thanking me, Gennaro. I have reunited you with your daughter. My daughter? The king raises an eyebrow, clearly skeptical. I can see in his eyes that he is loath to trust anything Mithros has to say. The king slumps in his chair as Varg leads me to a seat just beside Rod. I know it's Emmeline saying just to Rod's side. She forces a smile onto her face, but I can see tears gathering in her eyes. Aw, poor Emmeline. Allow me to offer a more formal introduction for our guest, even though you all know her. Her name is Lucette Viola Britton, and she is the crown princess of Angiel. And your blood daughter, Gennaro. The king looks at me again. This time there is more uncertainty in his gaze. Prince Rod would tell you, won't he? Rod? Rod looks at me, his gaze quiet but expectant. Why? Why do I really need to do this? I turn to the king and to the rest of my step-family. It is nice to meet you. There is no point trying to convince the king of my birthright here and now. I would only confuse him more, and now is not the time or place. Yes. Keep your head straight. I glance at Mithros, who is smiling at me expectantly. Besides, Mithros must have a reason for insisting on my birthright right now. Most likely it just means to confuse the king more. If that is the case, I will not play into such a petty scheme. My name is Lucette. Thank you for your kindness that one time. At one time? Ra looks shocked. I scowl at him before turning to look at Mithros. Mithros' smile has twisted into a frown. I feel proud in seeing him caught off guard, as you should. Lucette, what are you doing here? Gennaro, she is undoubtedly your daughter. That's why she is in the room that you have been taking care of. What? The king's eyes widen. He looks at a loss for words. Princess, the king has been keeping your room clean and tidy for the sake of nostalgia. He has no idea why. Magic works in interesting ways, doesn't it? I was wondering why my room was unchanged, but could it be that the king remembers me somehow? Well, I mean, did no one question the existence of the room at all? Like, I'm surprised the curse didn't just remove the room. I look up at him, but he has already glanced away from me. His expression a complicated twist of confusion and helplessness. It seems that even the king does not fully understand. I turn to Mifrose. It can work in both good and bad ways. Yes, a fairy tale curse is terrible, isn't it? I catch Varg's eyes from the side of the room. He glances away from me, and I follow his gaze to the corners of the room. I hadn't noticed them before, but now I see cloaked figures hiding in the shadows. Witches. They must be the ones holding everyone in place if they try to escape. But not all magic is terrible, like the magic we will use to revive the queen. You're insane. Hildir is mad. Hildir is mad. Oh, I see. You have no right to refer to her by name. How else are we supposed to refer? Oh, right, the queen. Okay. A sudden chill envelops the room. I can feel actual icicles on the table. I pull my hands away. Now, we are going to eat dinner, and we are going to enjoy it. And every day will be just like this until the queen returns. Oh my god! Rod glares across the table at Mifrose. Why? Why would we not enjoy dinners together? Hi! Thank you for joining, Shadow. That's not what I meant. Why go through this charade day after day? I stare across the table at Mifrose, glaring. I already told you before. I had to clear this place of traitors. Outcaster planned on stealing the crown, and I stole it back. But because the time of the queen's revival was so close, I decided to keep the crown with me until I can return it to its appropriate owner. Queen Hildir is the true owner of the crown. I thought it best that we all wait out her arrival together. But know this, when my queen demands it, I will kill all of you. I simply refuse to act without her orders. This time the guards come into the room with food. They set before us, and we are forced to eat beneath Mifrose's watchful gaze. Does he not need to eat? But I try to spot an opening in the dining hall. I can find no way out. This really is a prison. Yeah, it really is. 2 days passed. I have been searching for ways out and trying to ease more answers out of Varg and Mifrose. She's so brave. Neither of them is very forthcoming. Both enjoy speaking in riddles. Varg especially is an enigma. Whenever I try to ask him about Fritz, he smirks at me and remains silent. Oh great, it's you again. What, not going to try asking me any questions tonight? I mean, do you want her to? I'm not going to get any answers from Varg, and it is almost my birthday. I need to find a way out of here. I'm disappointed. You're the only fun I have in here, Princess. Maybe if I'm quiet, he will leave me alone. If you're just going to be quiet and sulk, I guess I should be going. Remember, don't try anything funny. There are knights just outside your door. Mm-hmm. Varg bows mockingly. He leans down to pat me on the head before he turns and leaves. I cannot give up. I once again begin my search for the room. Time is running out, and there is nothing that I can do besides search for a way out. But I know that if I leave the room, the knights will catch me immediately. If I had a weapon, I might stand a chance. I put my fingers to my neck and remember what Chevalier told me about it. Sleep. The sound comes from outside my door. Oh wait, is it Delora? It's a woman's voice. The door opens and suddenly Chevalier— Yes! Chevalier and Delora are both in my room. Princess! I started to see Chevalier standing before me, his eyebrows drawn over his eyes with great worry, and beside him stands Laura with her arms crossed. Well, aren't you a sight for sore eyes? We're here to stage a daring rescue. The way he announces it. I rush to Chevalier and wrap my arms around him. He puts a hand on the small of my back and smiles down at me. We're going to get you out of here, Princess. Well, I mean, out of here and back, right? Because, I mean, I originally live here. How did you both get in here? With the power of magic. Dramatic, even at a time like this. The two exchange a look before looking at me seriously. Parfait, Waltz, the Knights, and Karma are all here. We thought we'd just be fighting witches, though. We weren't expecting the Knights. No matter what we said, we couldn't get through to them. They're under a spell. Mefrose. He wants to release Mother. Both of them look at me with confusion. What? Mother is still alive, just inside the Tenebrarum. Mefrose wants to bring her back. That is impossible. The Queen is still alive? Chevalier looks worried while Dolores' expression is more rigid and resolute. We cannot let that happen. I don't know how the Queen will be alive in the first place, but... well, we'll worry about that later. Right, we have time later to discuss the specifics of everything, but right now we need to get out of here. Right, everyone is keeping the guards and witches busy for you, Princess. I'll distract Mefrose. Chevalier, I'm counting on you to get the princess to safety. That's why I'm here, Princess. That's why I'm here. Princess, can you guide me through the palace? I cannot just leave everyone here. Sure you can. Don't worry, Garland's staying to save your family. No, I cannot just leave everyone in the marsh in here to do things for me. Lou said we cannot afford to lose you. I told you I would do anything to protect you, and I will. The sooner you're safe, the sooner we'll have the advantage. You are the legitimate heir to the throne, and the next Tenebrarum bearer. You cannot let yourself remain in Mefrose's hands. The situation is indeed most dire, so for now, we must hurry. I nod my head feebly. Without another word, three of us head toward the door. Delora exits first and stops immediately. I almost run into her. I glance through the doorway and see Varg waiting just outside. Will this guy just never leave, holding a blade across Nora's neck. Oh my god. Delora holds up her hand, deflects the sword as it slides harmlessly past her neck. Varg slides away, still holding out his sword. His usual smirk is half-hearted at best. Get out of our way. You're awfully demanding, aren't you? Pretty, please? No can do, my lady. Shame. Looks like I have to destroy that pretty mask of yours along with everything else underneath. Damn! Delora holds up her hand and summons a wall of electric orbs. With a flick of her wrist, she sends them rushing toward Varg, who dodges with surprising speed. Oh, damn it. Varg's movements appear sluggish, but I have seen his fast reflexes. He is playing with Delora, even though I do not think he has the advantage. He drops the sword, and for a few moments I feel Delora has the advantage. Then suddenly he raises the cane he usually holds at his side, and taps it on the ground. A burst of smoke escapes from the bottom of it, shrouding the room. An enchanted cane? You're not the only one with tricks up your sleeve. Delora! Chevalier, get her out of here. Let's go, Princess. Chevalier takes my hand in his and begins to lead me away. I turn to glance back at Delora and Varg and realize that while Delora is completely on the offensive, Varg does nothing but dodge. It is as if he is trying to buy time for... something. I banish the thought from my head as Chevalier pulls me down the hall. Karma! How rude. Haven't you heard of chivalry? I spot Karma, still in his dress, holding a sword out at the man in front of him. When the man lunges, Karma dodges back and grunts as his back comes to the wall. I suppose chivalry is dead then. He steps off to the side as the possessed knight attacks him with his blade. The sword catches his dress, but does not hinder him from stepping forward and aiming a jab of his sword beneath the knight's armor. The knight keels, but the sword does not fall from his hand. Karma looks up at us sharply. What are you doing, just standing there? Move! It takes me a moment to realize that just as I was frozen, so too was Chevalier. His face is pale as he grabs my hand again, and once again starts rushing me down the other end of the hall. Chevalier's steps are wider than mine, and I have to struggle to keep up. But the further we go down the hallway, the more apparent it becomes that there are too many obstacles in the way. We pass Jury and Garland as we move too, and they manage to clear a path for us. These knights, will they not stop moving until Mifros is defeated? I hope the king and everyone else is safe. As we pass Juria and Garland, I tell them where the royal family is, but I have no way of knowing if the words reach your ears amidst all the sound. Chevalier? So the stab wounds in the armor that I saw earlier were from the knights themselves, but why would they battle each other? What? The punctures in the armor that we saw at the clinic, the stab wounds in the gut at the arms. Chevalier's eyes are so distant, it is as if he is looking right through me. We need to keep moving. I take his hand and lead him forward. I don't know what he is talking about, but we could talk about this later. Right now, we had to escape. We're closer to the palace entrance when we see them. A group of knights standing in 2 lines on both sides of the hall, facing each other. At the far end of the hallway stands a gaggle of witches, and in between them, Mifros. Good evening. Did you enjoy your stroll around the palace? Chevalier immediately moves to stand in front of me. The cloudiness has gone from his eyes. But what leaves his mouth is not a demand, but a question. How could you do this? How? It was quite easy, actually. You know what I mean. Why would you make the knights fight one another? What a foolish question. Obviously it is because they are inconsequential. On a stage, some pawns exist as easily replaceable extras. I am interested in keeping only the actors. In the grand scheme of things, the extras aren't needed. In fact, I can make them do whatever I need in order to get the best outcome. He snaps his fingers, and the knights raise their swords. I tense, thinking that the knights are going to turn to us, but they never do. Here is an interlude for you to enjoy. The knights are attacking each other? The sound of metal ringing against metal fills the air. The knight's swords arch, dive, and stab. Mifros watches from behind them. The sly smile never leaves his lips. The 2 of us can only stand there, stunned into silence. It isn't long before we can see red. Ugh. The smell of blood begins to linger in the air as swords cut through flesh. Abruptly, I snap to my senses. I attempt to move forward, but Chevalier remains firmly grounded. Chevalier! I heard many things about a doctor working at the clinics. I heard that he was a volunteer who had assisted in helping the injured during the Great War. I also heard that, until just recently, he had been cursed. I knew immediately upon seeing you that you were that volunteer. I suppose it is unavoidable that you and the princess know each other, but you'd think you would be so close. Oh yeah, no problem. Thank you so much for dropping by. I suppose it is unavoidable that you and the princess know each other, but you'd think you would be so close. Chevalier just stares blankly ahead. Looks almost like he is under a spell. His eyes are glazed. I continue to call his name. His eyes follow the sword movements of the knights. He does not even spare me a glance. Have I unraveled the doctor? Chapter 10. Not like Muller. I sure hope not. Chevalier, don't listen to him. I just look at all of these men you cannot save, all of these men dying before your eyes. Chevalier, we have to get away from here. How many people have you really saved in the grand scheme of things? You have no talent. This is why you sought help from a witch. Mifros' voice is oddly calm, and I can feel some sort of presence in the air that is different from normal. The knight plunges a sword through another's gut, causing him to lose his sword. The sword skewers across the floor, gleaming underneath the moonlight. I look desperately at Chevalier and realize that the magic is already working its way into him. He does not see anyone except for Mifros, who is still smiling at him from behind all of the knights. I glance at the sword, remembering what Chevalier taught me. Mifros is unguarded right now, but I have better judgment than that. I told Chevalier that I was going to steer clear of the burden of taking someone's life. I have a promise to keep. I gazed up at Chevalier and realized that this was how he looked every time he regained a memory, like he was stuck in his own mind. There's only one thing I can think of to get him out of this trance. I clench my hand. Oh no, it better not be like the kiss of true love or something. I clench my hand. Oh no, is she gonna hit him? Wait! Yes! And I punch Chevalier in the face. Ow! God, my face! Impossible. Why would she hit him in the face? Okay. Chevalier's eyes clear, and when she looks at me, I can tell he is distraught. His eyes are seeing the present. Sorry, I thought I lost you. So you decide to punch him in the face. I suppose I needed that, didn't I? Yes. Chevalier smiles sheepishly. He is fleeing and gone by the time you both turn to Mifros again. Chevalier looks straight past the still fighting knights. If this bars Chevalier, which it must, he hides it beneath a neutral expression. How did you break my spell? You cannot even use any magic. She didn't break it with magic, she broke it with the power of love. I stare at him skeptically. We both know that is not true, and I know Chevalier well enough to know that he does not mean that. But Mefros looks furious. Love! If it's some fairy tale love could save you from this predicament. Well, it kind of did, didn't it? Princess, you're a witch. We feed off negativity, off of chaos and loathing. Love serves us no power. Life is about balance. Lucette taught me that. And though I might not be able to uphold a balance of negatives and positives myself, I'm at least good to try. Oh, so, whoa, this makes so much more sense now. Like, this route, it seems so much more meaningful now. So, it's trying to prove the, the purpose of even having negatives, because Rumpel only ever tries to do positives. You could try to do the same. Maybe look beyond your depressing life and start reaching for something that gives you happiness. Something that won't plummet you back into the same darkness. Mefro snaps his fingers, and the knights all freeze. Then they turn to us, swords raised. I do not need to be lectured by some lovesick fool. By all means, cling to your love. I'll show you how fragile it is. Witches do not need love. Mifros holds out his hands, and the knights begin their steady, deadly march toward us. Chevalier takes my hand and pulls me back. But I see my opening in the narrative. Mifros enjoys inflicting pain with his words. And I can do the same. If you do not need love, if you do not need affection, then why are you doing all of this for Mother? Dun dun dun. I am not. You are doing it to be recognized. Why? Every student wants to impress their teacher. His words are calm, but there is a desperation in them. Mother was Mifros' teacher? I thought he was just reviving her as another witch, but... Do you know Mifros? It was a long time ago. We both shared the same teacher. Teacher? Wait. Waltz, are you a witch? Yeah. Waltz was Mother's student? No, I cannot think about that now, but I can use this to my advantage. I do not remember Mother's students in the least, but one of them turned out right. The other did not, and I can see the bitterness in you. It is the same bitterness I held, only yours goes deeper. You will not sway me with your foolish words. The knights begin to rush us. Their run is more of a pathetic shuffle given the harmed state that they're in, but this does not slow them down. We're going to run. But trust me, Princess, I'll protect you no matter what happens. He grabs my hand and we wait. I can see Chevalier's eyes darting around as he searches for an opening. I can feel the pulse of his quickened heartbeat through his hand, and I know he is panicking. Suddenly there is a massive luminescent gold wall in front of us. The knights stumble right into it, their swords hitting the bright barrier. Are you two okay? Parfait rushes to stand in front of us. Mifros' expression is a cold, angry glare. He measures the situation with critical eyes, and then he turns away and begins to dart down the hall. Ugh. Parfait collapses to one knee, arms still outstretched to maintain the barrier. Delora appears. She is flustered and bleeding on one arm, but she still stands straight. Delora holds up her hand and summons fire. Put down the shield, Parfait. I have this. Parfait releases the shield, and the magic projectiles shoot out at the knights. Projectiles. The two edge the knights back through the hallway, but I can see Parfait growing weaker and weaker by the moment. No, Parfait! Parfait takes a deep shuddering breath as she tries to stand. When she falls yet again, Chevalier takes a step forward and looks at her urgently. Lady Parfait! I'm fine, don't fuzz. Her breathing is labored, but she still manages a smile. I fought in the Great War. This is nothing. She looks at me and Chevalier. You two need to leave. But you're... Fine, I just need to gather my energy. A spell from Delora sends the knight sprawling to the ground after she creates a heavy downpour of rain that quickly turns into ice. You two keep going. The entrance is clear. I notice the witches that have been standing behind Mithros approach us now. Delora stands at the ready. I can tell that she is hiding a great amount of stress behind her smirk. Her face slowly gets to her feet. We fight together, Delora. There's no one I'd rather have fighting by my side, Faye. Aww. Well, I hope that wasn't like famous last words. Come on, princess, while we still have an opening. We head around the side. Parfait erects a shield to protect us from any magic that comes our way, and Delora summons a whirlwind as a distraction. Ow! My foot is grazed by fire magic, causing me to stumble, but I force myself into a limping sprint regardless. This is nothing. At the entrance, I pause in the middle of the room. The main entrance hall is eerily silent. And then I see Mithros edging his way into the king's throne room. He is holding tight to Emmeline. He knows it's me watching and smiles. Then he disappears into the throne room. We have to follow him. Princess, he has Emmeline! Chevalier's posture and expression are indecisive, but mine are not. I know Mithros is baiting me, but I cannot leave her alone. My gaze moves around the hallway as I search for other knights. The place is empty, but it is not long before we hear footsteps. I tense at the sound and Chevalier holds tightly to my hand. And suddenly, as the figure draws nearer, I recognize him, even if he seems a completely different, older person. I finally found you. Is this the first time we're seeing Waltz grown in like, a route? Waltz? You broke your curse, but how? Chevalier stares at him in awe. I now dub you Waltz the Big. Please. There was never a Waltz the Small. Waltz shakes his head. And I broke my curse unexpectedly. I actually found the item I needed while I was searching around. But I can explain more later. For now, we have to go after Mithros. Do you know where he is? He is in the throne room. Mithros stands in the middle of the empty throne room, holding Emmeline to him. He has his hands around her neck. No sudden moves, you three, or this girl dies. She has a name, and I do not know how much death bothers you. Oh dear. With a start, I realize he is talking to Waltz. All three of us are frozen. Myth. Traitor. Why can't you see that Hildur wasn't trying to teach us? She was trying to corrupt us. Silence, traitor. You betrayed her. Well, yes, I think we got that. During the war, you betrayed our own teacher. We got it. Betrayed? Hildur was corrupted. She cannot be saved. How dare you use her name? Mithros' fingers tighten on Emmeline's throat. I can see the tears running down her face. Emmeline! Her sobbing is quiet, but still reaches my ears in a silent room. Varg. Varg appears from the darkness, as he did before. He smiles at all of us from behind Mithros, eyes glinting mischievously. You didn't finish the job. You were awfully vague when you told me to take care of them. You know, most people would assume that meant entertaining them and offering them refreshments. Obey me. That's so funny. Just, like, the demand is just, obey me. Varg turns to us. He draws the sword he used earlier, his smile fading. I think I see something like pain in his eyes, but then I think it might be my imagination. He looks stoic as he moves toward us. When Watts moves, Mithros' hands tighten over Emmeline's neck, and she cries out. Chevalier is watching everything quietly. The concern in his eyes is muted by the urgency. I follow his gaze around the room, wondering what he is searching for. Myth, is it? You were injured during the Great War. I tended to you once. What? Really? Stabbed in the stomach. You need stitches to it. Why didn't you bring it up earlier? Oh, okay. Because Mithros didn't even remember it. Okay. I feel Mithros' confusion before I see it. For just a few moments, though, his gaze is centered on Chevalier, his eyes probing him for information. No one came for you. Your teacher must have thought you were too weak, that you would die. Are we going to use Talk no Jutsu? Mithros' hands fly away from Emmeline's neck as he lunges forward. As he lunges toward Chevalier with a snarl, his expression mad. Whoa. The room breaks out into chaos, Len. Oh my god. I feel a rise in magic beside me as Waltz readies a spell. The tension in Chevalier's body as he prepares to shield me. And lastly, I see Varg zip across the room. Everything goes white. When I look up, I see Waltz standing in front of me with a shield. Mithros' hand lies flat against the shield. I can feel the heat of his magic. Varg lies on the ground beside his fallen sword, unconscious from the impact of magic. Even Chevalier is on his knees. I rush toward the sword at the same moment Waltz pushes Mithros back onto the ground. Then, sword in hand, I stand above Mithros and aim it at his neck. The blade touches his skin without sinking into it. Emily is hiding behind the throne, staring out at the scene of shock on her tear-stained face. Will you kill me? Mithros' smile is a mere shadow of itself. You saw soldiers in the clinic today. You saw how close some of them were to death. Did you see the hollow look in their eyes? I have seen it look many times. It is the look of a man who clings desperately to life. Every life is precious, and a life is still a life. Whether it's vile or not, it's still a responsibility you have to bear. I know how valuable lives are because I have helped so many people. That desperation is in Mithros' eyes now, a man that clings to life. It will be so easy to slice his throat. I have seen so much bloodshed on this night, and it was all caused by Mithros. If I kill him, I can stop all of it. But that will make me no better than Mother. I drop the sword. Mithros actually stops to stare at me in shock. I am not like Mother. I would not kill you for revenge. No sooner have I said the words, I feel a sudden heat on my chest. My hand instinctively reaches up to grab the necklace around my neck. And then there is a bright light. When the light clears, a new source of light catches my eyes. Dude, calling this a good deed is kind of like making it a lot smaller than it is. I stop to stare down at my feet, which are in glass slippers that shine so brightly they sparkle even in the dim light. I never understood the appeal of the glass slippers. I mean, since it's translucent, like you just see. Don't you basically just see someone floating? I mean, almost floating. It's like you can see their feet, and they're like in shoes that aren't meant to show toes. I mean, but I have no time to admire the shoes or the weight that has fallen off my shoulders. I barely recognize that the fairy tale curse has been broken. Emmeline rises from behind the throne and screams, "Lucette, watch out!" Mithros has grabbed the sword of his hand, turned it around, and is aiming it at my chest. It hits a barrier. Parfait stands beside me once more, her face devoid of any color. I did not see her rush in here. She takes a step forward as if to shield me. Out of my way! Mithros draws the sword back and plunges it again at the shield. This time the blade is it's coated with darkness. It pierces the already flimsy shield, and the blade goes through Parfait's heart. Ah! Parfait! Parfait grabs the blade and narrows her eyes at Mithros. I'm sorry Heldir did not appreciate you. Something swells inside me as I stare at Parfait. The sword is impelled in her, and I can see her eyes go glassy. I cannot speak, cannot breathe. Waltz rushes forward with his magic and pins Mithros forcefully to the ground. He raises his hand, but it never comes down in time. The sword strikes past his shoulder, right at Mithros' neck. Oh, that's... When I turn, it is Chevalier that is holding it. His body shakes as tears run down his cheeks. Mifros holds his neck as Chevalier holds up the blade and throws it behind him. Damn. Eesh. At the corner of my eyes, I catch movement that can only be Varg, but I do not care. Lady Parfait, do not move. We can take the sword out. We can... But I see a hopelessness in Chevalier's expression, and I know that whatever wound Parfait took was lethal. I can see it in his eyes. I can see it in Parfait's. There is no need to fuss. When Parfait falls, Waltz grabs her and puts his hand to the hilt of the sword. Chevalier crumples beside her. He stares at the blood staining her dress with sorrow. I start to cry. He said, do not regret this. I am proud of you. The room is quiet, even with the newcomers that arrive. The knights and Karma watch the scene from the sidelines, all with grim looks on their faces. Last to arrive is Delora, who sits down beside Parfait, with her lips pulled into an uptight frown. Her face is stern, but I can tell it is a mask. Parfait. That look doesn't suit you, Delora. I told you to stay back. Had I not been here in time, the princess would have... Her words fall apart as she begins to cough. Delora leans over her and shakes her head. I'm sorry I didn't come sooner. Everything is as it should be, Delora. Parfait cranes her neck to look up at me. Wipe away your tears, Lisette. What you did was a good deed. You spared a man's life. Good deed is really, like, I don't know, making light of it. But life is not a fairy tale. Humans are good and bad. No, it isn't. But the fear of death makes life even more valuable. Do not worry, princess. I chose this. Parfait smiles. It's mystifying to see her smile when her body is slowly crumbling away in Waltz's grasp. Parfait's body is what gives out first. Her eyes go next. They remain focused on me, still smiling. Her body begins to glow as her body slowly fades away. Parfait. Parfait! Delora turns away, even if she is not shedding any tears. It is clear that she is heartbroken. She closes her eyes and releases a shaky sigh. Sweet dreams, my friend. I do not know how long we all stay in that room, mourning the loss of Parfait. Karma, Jerry, and Gerlin eventually spread out to search for any remaining danger. At some point they return with the king and the rest of the family. My reunion with my family is half-hearted. I do not know what to say to people that I hated only months ago. Despite the quiet, they all take me in with open arms. The king stays by my side long after the others have left. Karma and the knights return to the Martian to tell the others the news. Waltz goes to search the palace for any remaining resistance. Only Delora, Chevalier, the king, and I remain. Chevalier cries. I've never seen him cry before, but his heartbreak is my own. What happened was a nightmare, but it eventually ended. Last night, Varg escaped the throne room. No one saw where he disappeared to in all the chaos. I am beginning to believe that his feint was a trick. Since the night I left everyone so tired, we were offered rooms in the palace. I came to my room with Chevalier, where the two of us attempted to comfort each other with words. It's kind of odd that, well, I guess I can't really comment on further to avoid spoilers, but it is kind of odd that we just never know. I mean, I guess eventually when you get to a certain route, you kind of wonder, you kind of really get more concerned about what happened with Varg in so many of these routes. Chevalier was especially shaken, being the one to kill Mifros. He was in tears for a long time. I'm pretty sure that I must have fallen asleep sometime when we were talking, bud. I'm laying in my bed, ironing my covers, and though I think for a few moments that it must be a figment of my imagination, it is not. Chevalier is definitely lying right next to me, sleeping beneath those same covers. How did this happen? Whoa! I put off the recollection of the previous day to stare at Chevalier's face. His glasses are off, and without them his face seems strangely empty. He looks vulnerable, almost like a child. Except his features are too handsome for that. What am I thinking? I slowly put my hand to his cheek and flinch when his eyebrows crease. Moments later, his eyes open. They're foggy this early in the morning. What is this? Have I been woken by my princess? Usually it is the princess that wake their princesses. Oh, too bad. I will always wonder how he manages to keep smiling like this. And I will always wonder how he keeps coming up with lines like this. Even when he is in pain, he forces a smile. Aww. But you are no prince. I am not some damsel princess. Chevalier closes his eyes again and sighs. There is only one way to break the spell of sleep. Oh my god, dude. Like a crystal or something. Yeah, I suppose. But still, isn't it weird to just see someone's whole feet in shoes that are meant to cover them? I flush as his lips curl into like she was wearing them while dancing. In the original Cinderella anyway, she was wearing them while dancing too. Like, how weird is that? I flush as his lips curl into a mischievous smile. Still, his eyes do not open. I think about what happened that night. Parfait and Mifro's death, Varg's escape, everyone else's heartbreak. Before I had to relieve the burden, I can afford to lose myself in some happiness. I lean forward to kiss his smile. Oh, that's such a cute way to put it! Kiss his smile. I break away from Chevalier, startled. Oh, come on. Princess, how distressing. Waltz the big ruins everything. Waltz the big. I quickly slip out of bed and Chevalier sits up and puts on his glasses with a yawn. Good morning, princess, and his eyes widen when he sees Chevalier. Are you so tired that words have abandoned you, Waltz? No, I wanted to see if the princess was doing okay, if you were both alright, actually. He pauses to look at us, his eyebrows furrowed in thought. Don't think too hard on it. Though I can imagine just how tongue-tied you must be, you should speak if you have something to say. I mean, is it that hard to, to predict that they would be together in the same room? I mean, they were talking in the same room, so I mean, it makes sense for him to fall asleep in the same room. Waltz sighs. I didn't want to bring this up so soon, but it's been on my mind the whole night. It's just... you didn't have to kill Meph. That was my job. Her job? I doubt that. Besides, I didn't want to kill him. It was... a reaction. The room goes silent for a few moments as Chevalier stares down at the floor. He told me before that lies are valuable. That's why I try to save Mephrose. But in the end, my sparing his life forced Chevalier to carry the burden of his death. He has already told me that it's not my fault. Parfait said that what I did was a good deed, but still. Killing Mephrose saved us more casualties. I hope I can convince Chevalier of that. Most likely, he will wrestle with that guilt for a long time. I turn my attention back to Waltz, and will the questions to the back of my mind for a time being. Well, I'm not saying killing is good, but in a way, in kind of a way, Chevalier did get his balance. Well, no, it's not a good balance. It's not a good way to get his balance, but since it's like his first time ending a life, I'm assuming. It's his first time ending a life instead of trying to help one. Well, there are questions I need to ask you. About how he broke his curse, about Mother being his teacher, about Mephrose. There's so much to ask him I don't even know where to start. We have plenty of time for explanations now, princess. After your birthday, Delora and I will pick up your magic education, but for now, you should rest. I'll give you the full story of my apprenticeship and curse another day. But Princess, Chevalier, I just thought I'd let you know that when Parfait came into this battle, she expected to die. She told all of us that while we were sitting around trying to plot a rescue plan. Again, without us? I glance at Chevalier, who nods quietly. Was it because of her frailty after the Great War, or did Parfait somehow have a feeling? Oh, also. Congratulations on breaking your curse, princess. Chevalier sits up straight, his eyes narrow behind his glasses. Walt, I was supposed to congratulate her first, and why didn't you? Why he had bigger things on his mind. Chevalier stands and kisses me promptly on the cheek. Aw, my cheeks flush, and even Walt looks embarrassed. Look at his smiling face, though. Oh, he's so supportive. Congratulations, my sweet. It was all very dramatic when your curse broke. There was this bright light and... Wait. Oh, was there no bright light when I broke my curse? Both Boss and I burst into laughter. Chevalier just sighs dramatically. He leans against my shoulder, and I do not protest. I have a feeling that getting through the memory of last night might be easier with him here. If anyone can put a smile on my face, it is Chevalier. We hope to see you again at the Martian soon, Princess. I will be back. After all, I have friends there. Oh, she has friends now. Oh, that's so fulfilling. Did I speak falsely? No, of course not. It's the truth. Anyway, I need to get going. I've explained what happened to your father, but you should talk with him privately soon. After everything that happened last night, speaking to the king is the last thing in my mind, but I suppose it must be done. Thank you, Watts. And you, Chevalier, might want to ask for a guest room. But no beds as comfy as a princess is. I nudge him without realizing it, but Chevalier just laughs. We promised Watts that we will see him and everyone else in the Martian soon. Afterwards, Watts hurries out and shuts the door. My eyes go to the edge of my bed, where something shiny catches my eyes. The slippers are still there. The glass slippers are a reminder of everything that happened yesterday. Of the fact that life goes beyond its black and white. Good and evil are subjective. In the end, life is gray, Mother. Both good and bad, but even so, even though fairy tale endings cannot exist, I still want to live my life with everyone else. Mifros centered his life around a single person. He was selfish. I will become someone else, someone better than him. Thinking about Mifros makes me remember something. Chevalier, yesterday you said that you took care of Mifros during the Great War. That no one came for him. Was that true? I don't know, Lucette. He acted like it was, though, wasn't it? You lied! So you never knew Mifros. No, I didn't know him at all. I don't know if I would have been able to strike him down if I did. I don't know what burden he carried, but it seemed heavy. I only guessed at what I could say to distract him. I'd heard rumors of a strong witch that went abandoned for many years. It may have been him, it might not have been. So deception exists in everyone, but it's not entirely what Mother said it was. Aww. My birthday is tomorrow. I sit in the throne room speaking to my father, who has listened to my tale with patience. When it is over, he looks at me sadly. I owe you an apology, Lucette. This whole time you have been on your own, and I could not do a thing for you. I mean, it wasn't really your fault. You can now, starting first by explaining what happened between you and Mother. You knew she was a witch. I did. You did too, before she forcefully erased your memories. I tried reaching out to you many times when you were a child, but my efforts were met with resistance. Still, I cannot excuse myself for what I have done. I truly abandoned you, and I am sorry for that, Lucette. I will explain the story to you, if you give me time. Right now, I would very much like to mend my bond with you. To be honest, the king still angers me. He only apologizes now, after all of this has come to light. Well, once you know his reasoning, yeah. Whether or not I was difficult to speak to, he still had an obligation to seek me out. He is still late to care, but he is still my father, and I can forgive him. Oh, she learned forgiveness. I can learn to trust him again. It will take time, but I would like to mend our bond. I would also like to try speaking with Emmeline, Rod, and Ophelia, but that will take time. The king smiles at me. It is one of the first honest smiles I have seen from him in years. I'm surprised that she didn't end up becoming friends of Rod despite Yeah, I'm surprised she didn't end up being friends with Rod anyways, and considering it seems like everyone in the Martian ended up being close to her. We have time. Well, I guess then again, Rod wasn't a boarder. He just visited from the palace, like, sometimes. We have time. All the time in the world. And we will mend our family bond. I promise. As I turn to leave the room, the king calls out to me. Lizette, I am proud of you. More proud than any other father in the realm could ever be of his child. Aww. After what happened, we searched for Fritz, but he has vanished. No! Fritz! The Frozen Varg has said that they had replaced him, but they never said anything about what had happened to him. Yeah, this bothers me a lot. We search endlessly, but to no avail. All I can hope is that he is safe, and that I will reunite with him again in the future. Oh, Lotta's performance today was amazing. Don't you agree, Mr. Chevalier? I agree. You ladies look especially charming with so many lilies floating around you. Oh my. He always speaks like that. Do not mind him. Yeah, it's been a whole month since the events at the palace. My birthday has come and gone. Now, my life begins. I have been practicing magic of Waltz and Delora, attempting to bond with my family and visiting the Martian when time allows me to. Oh, she's doing so much. Agnes was overjoyed to see me visiting often, since Chevalier operates from there as a doctor. I visit often. Mostly though, he clings to me like a leech. Oftentimes, I find him in my bed when I could have sworn he was sleeping in another room for the night. Jesus. Sometimes at night, he has nightmares. A blood on his hands. Oh, never mind then. Completely understandable. A blood on his hands and of Mifros' death. And those times, I'm glad to be sitting right beside him, so I can promise him that things are alright. As for the fairy tale curse, I have no idea how Lizette puts up with you. Rod's voice comes out from between his lips. Now I can actually speak. Since the fairy tale curse is tied to Mother's still living soul in the crystal, her disappearance and my taking her place immediately caused the root to vanish. I have been working for days to break everyone's fairy tale curses with magic, and when I am done, no one in this kingdom will have to suffer from it ever again. And now the Martian is not just a place reserved for the cursed, now it is open to the public. Lizette enjoys it though. She finds my poetic leavings to be the best in the kingdom. I doubt it. What he means to say is I can only put up with them because of our relationship. Loving someone so much, you can put up with their nonsensical poetry. That was a jab. I thought you were the nice. I thought you were the nice one, Princess Emma. I thought you were the nice one, Princess Emily. No, she has a point. Emily focuses her attention on musicians standing off in the distance. She points excitedly, then rushes after them, pulling her brother with her. Her guards follow. Ever since the incident at the palace, we have had more security. I do not blame the king, though it can be tiring at times. Luckily, he is more relaxed with me. When I told Chevalier was going to be with me, he fell with having Emmeline and I share guards. And so I get to be alone with Chevalier often. Father was wary of him at first, until he found out he was a renowned doctor. Now he and Chevalier get on well enough. Excuse me? I mean, he risked his life to save your daughter. Chevalier takes a step closer to me and I place my hands around his arm. Hehe. I am no prince, nor am I a knight in shining armor. I am just a doctor. A doctor who has been blessed with the most beautiful woman in this world. Chevalier begins to lead me through town again. He is one of the only constants in my ever-changing life. He is the one that will always make me smile, and we share a burden, the burden of a friend's death. He is more burdened with nightmares than I am, and while I wish I could do more to help, I can at least listen to them, just like he listens to me. No matter the burden, it can be overcome. Lizette? Yes? I love you more than anything in this world. I love you too. We share one kiss, ignoring the spectators in the town with a shared smile. Then we follow. Wait, that's actually pretty funny. Ignoring the spectators in the town with a shared smile. Then we follow after Emmeline. I don't know, I just imagine everyone else judging them for PTA. Yay! Another route down. That was a lot. Wow, that was actually a lot deeper than I remember it to be. I don't know. Maybe it's because I was too young when I first. Well, not too young, but maybe I was like younger. So I didn't process it that way. Yeah, Rumpel's route actually has a lot of meaning to it. I would say. Not that any of the other routes didn't have meaning, but now I understand. I understand like why it's placed as the third recommended the route that's recommended to be played on the third playthrough, I guess. Yeah, he also wasn't like I always thought that the route was boring, and that's why I don't remember it that much. But it wasn't. It evidently wasn't boring. And I completely forgot that that Chevalier did that at the end. It's so sad. Among other things. That was sad. So I'm assuming from now on there's going to be at least one person who dies in every route. Just kidding. No, actually no. But you'll see. So that means that's all for the 3 characters that kind of just touches the surface of the plot, I guess. For the other 2, the reason why the other 2 were locked was because they give a lot more background, and they get into, I mean, more answers are questions. Cool, answers are questioned. More questions are answered, and they're just overall like more complete routes as far as the overarching story goes. Yeah. So I believe next week we will start on what's his name? Start on Fritz's route. Yes. And we can finally get some closure about him, because so far things have not gone well with him for basically every route. Because like he just kind of disappears for every of the other routes, and we just don't know what happened to him. That's upsetting a little bit, but at least we'll get to know what happens now, and I will stop having to ambiguously talk about him. But yeah. All right. So for the rest of the week, I mean, there's only Sunday left, but tomorrow we will have a collaboration, our usual weekly collaboration with Nanal, who's my what do we call it? My combination partner in Serenity. And the theme for tomorrow will be guessing, guess which of my favorite characters set this. And I'm not going to explain it now because we will explain the game tomorrow. So it would be really nice if you can make it. And so without further ado, I don't want to keep you guys for too long. So thank you for breaking into my stream, and until our next daybreak. Bye bye.